Just like brothers are, me and Samuel were very competitive with each other. Even though he was a year younger than me and him would push each other to our limits, you know. Whether it was wrestling or racing, which he'd win all the time, playing video games, we'd bring out the most competitive side in one another. I looked up to him. You know, I think a lot of people looked up to Samuel. Through a lot of people's eyes, he was the guy who had it all. Looks, charm, you know, just a charisma that drew you in, an energy that people wanted to be around. As you can imagine, being very competitive with one another, and me being the fat kid, I had my jealous moments.
He could go months without going into the gym as far as his, physical features, and he would just get a little gut, and he would go back to the gym, and it would shrink down, and he'd be shredded, and I'd be just sitting there and be like, I just looked at a taco, and I just gained like 5 pounds.
Within regards to girls, one of the biggest things that sucked, being so heavy and overweight, I would have a crush on a girl, and I would bring her over to the house. And next thing I know, is your brother single? And I would grind my teeth. Yeah, he is. Why? He's really cute. All right.
Actually, a lot of guys were envious of him growing up just because, they said by the time Samuel turned 30, he'd be gay because he would have slept with all the girls in our zip code. Samuel was a gentleman, but still, he had a lot of girls after him.
Whenever it came to girls or sports or even just being liked in general, it was hard. It was hard to go through the process of being rejected or not being good enough to make the cut or to be on the varsity team. And there was some envy there. It came easy to Samuel.
The type of jealousy that I have wasn't vindictive. It was just that I wish that I could experience what he was experiencing. I didn't wish that he had failures or shortcomings. I just wish that I would have gone through those experiences at that time, at that age.
But regardless of all that, we were each other's support system. Even when my teenage years seemed tough and I would battle bouts of depression, we had each other. I had him, and he would build me up. He was my self-esteem. I remember one time I mentioned that I was never going to find somebody, and he said, Thomas, you can't think like that. There's always going to be somebody for everyone out there. You just got to be patient, and the girl that ends up with you is going to be very lucky. That was the type of man that he was. He never kicked me when I was down. Even whenever he was down, he'd always bring me back up. His passing was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with in my life. You imagine people passing away whenever they're older, not whenever they're so young. But there we were, laying him to rest at 17. It's something that you never forget, and it's something that stays with you. After he passed, it was very hard to move on. You're stuck in limbo. I already had so many bad things going for me, but one of the hardest things that I had to deal with was already being heavy. And then after he passed away, my way of coping with all this negativity was drinking and eating. And that's how I made myself feel better. I would drink and I would eat, just to try to numb everything. Just to give you an idea of how heavy I was, around my senior year, I was weighing in at about 390, 400. And after he passed, within about a year and a half, I was almost 600 pounds. I think one of the main things that fueled that year to drink and eat so much were certain memories of hating that I was jealous of him. Missing those brotherly moments that meant so much to me. Whenever we buried him, on his headstone at the very bottom, we put "Live large, life is short." That's forever ingrained in my brain, and that's what I still think about to this day. And that's why I decided to make the best of my life now. There were so many lessons that I learned from his passing. Living in the moment, enjoying each moment, learning how to rebuild myself. Really digging in and finding personal growth. Life is really interesting because there are moments whenever I hit a big goal, or I overcome a plateau, or I just have a new epiphany about a certain part of life. I want to pick up the phone and call him and hear his voice and, celebrate with him. But then there are times where if I didn't have to be put through this hardship, would I be where I'm at now going through this journey? One of the biggest things that I found from him passing is a strength that I've never had before. Live large, life is short. I'm at a place now to where I'm trying to put every single ounce of energy that I have into passions and things that I love. And that's something that Samuel taught me. And that's where I'm at now. And then, just whenever you feel like life took something away, I found out that I do have an unknown sibling in this world, and I got to meet her. Her name's Carol. Whenever me and her first met, it was like we never were split apart. Even the short time that we've known each other, which has been about a year and a couple of months, our bond and our closeness it's like we've never been apart. She inspires me so much on some of the toughest days, as of recently. I love her so much. I love my nieces. I know Samuel would be looking down. He'd be proud of us. He'd be proud of what I've accomplished, but he'd also be proud of what we've accomplished. I haven't done this alone. I haven't been on this journey alone. I may have started alone, but it's funny the way life is, because right across the street where I grew up, I actually met a dear friend that became like a brother to me. He invited me to Vegas, and he helped me find different ways to lose weight and so much information on nutrition that made this journey possible and to continue, because in Texas I was struggling. His name's Adam Koljak, and he's a big part of why I still continue to go through this process. He's been a shoulder for me to lean on, and he's been a big part of why I have stayed on the straight and narrow pathway. He's like a brother from another mother. And what I owe to my support group is to continue on to this journey, and I owe that to Samuel as well. But I think the number one person that I owe it to is to myself, to see this process through and to see this journey achieved. I'm Thomas Benda, and I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Please like and subscribe.